Assalamualaikum. My name is Habibullah 2020E79. Today we are discussing lab number 11 of digital signal processing. In lab 11, the lab objective is analyze of frequency versus Z-plane graph. So first we define that what is poles and zeros. So as we know, when we have a transfer function and we also have y of x and x, so the denominator is called poles and the numerator is called zeros. So in lab 11 the task 1 is explain the graph output in terms of the frequencies versus z plane and pole z plane pole and zeros. So design a low pass filter. uh, Now we all edit these tasks in MATLAB and run one by one in MATLAB. So let's move to MATLAB. So this was the first task. Uh, First task we're going to run. In this graph we see that there is one pole and one zero, and both are inside the unit circle, so the system is stable. Now moving towards next task and run this. So there is one zero and three poles, and two poles are conjugate to each other, so and both are outside the unit circle, so the system is unstable. Now moving towards third task. The third task we're going to run. In this task there are many poles and two zeros, and all poles are inside the circle and the two are conjugate to each other. So the system is stable because all poles are inside the unit circle. Moving towards next task. uh, and run this task. In this task also we have one zero and one pole, and both are inside the circle unit circle, so the system is stable. Moving towards next task. Going to run this task. So there are many poles and zeros, and few are conjugate to each other, but all the poles are inside the unit circle, so the system is stable. Moving towards next task. I'm going to run this task. In this task there are one two three poles and three zeros, and the two poles are conjugate to each other and outside the unit circle, so the system is unstable. Moving towards next task. I'm going to run this task. There are four poles, and all four are the on the boundary line of the unit circle, and both are conjugate to each other. So this is marginally stable, not a stable, but marginally stable system. So moving towards next task, going to run this task. In this task, there are also four poles, and both are conjugate each other, but in the uh, boundary of the unit circle. So this is also marginally stable. Now moving towards next task, going to run this task. In this task, have few poles and zeros, and the one pole and zero are overlapping each other. So the system is undefined when poles and zero overlap each other. The system going to be undefined. So moving towards next task, I'm going to run this task. Uh, and this there are two poles, four poles, five poles, and the two are conjugate to each other, but the two was in outside the unit circle, so the system is unstable. Moving towards next task, task number, move toward run this task. In this figure, there are four poles and four zeros, and the poles, three poles are outside the unit circle, and the two are conjugate to each other. So the system is unstable because the poles are outside the unit circle. So moving towards last task of this lab. The last task of this lab, going to run this task. So in the graph, as we see, there's overlapping of poles and zeros on the unit circle boundary. So this system is also undefined. So this is all about lab number 11. Thank you.